My shit to record. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and we're live. We should be live now. We're now live.
Okay.
Welcome everybody to the Combat Pack Combat Pack podcast. Today I have Mr. Ponies with me. Go ahead and tell him a little bit about yourself.
Go by Caramelized Pony, aka the emo assassin, aka Mr. I hate this game. But I'm here. Nice to meet y'all. Nice to see y'all.
The emo assassin. Oh, it's too good. That's too good. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, Ponies is wanting to dip his toe into commentary. Figured he'd jump in here on this podcast and kind of get his feet wet. But those of you who have been around a while know that he jumps on Discord with me regularly. So he's not an entirely new face, but this is his first time trying to do a podcast. Although you have done commentary. Tell us a little bit about your commentary experiences so far.
Only like one or two. I got some friends in New Zealand because I used to live there. But they weren't on different time frames, so I had a little 3 o'clock in the a.m. type of commentary for them. They ran their own tournament, but
Jesus.
they shouted me out. So I was like, okay. But then,
3
I
a.m.?
realized the time that it was still okay.
God damn, 3 a.m. to commentate a tournament? I ain't mad at that.
Yeah,
I
they
ain't
did like
mad at
16
that.
hours ahead.
Jesus. Jesus.
Yeah.
How was that how was the experience for you? Did you enjoy doing the commentary?
It was fun. A little jittery, but other than that, yeah, just got on there and did what I did.
Nice. Nice. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that I could do commentary at 3 a.m. I don't know that I have the intestinal fortitude for that amount of work at that time.
Well, it worked out for me because I'm always up late.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, you've lived, like, fucking everywhere. Like, and you've done fucking everything. So I imagine you'd have a lot of experience to draw upon when doing commentary. You know, anecdotes and stories and shit. People like that stuff.
Oh, of course, just a bunch of friends who listen, bunch of people person, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, the topic on deck for today, we just had the Rambo Combat Cast hit this week. So I figured we could talk a little bit about that, among other things. I know that we had pretty lively discussions in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, feel free to join the Discord, those of you listening later. But we had pretty lively debates, and I seem like I'm the outlier on opinions with Rambo. What do you think of Rambo so far?
Personally, that's my guy right now because first variation is something how I play. So I like his little trap on the ground where you just put in the medium or the far and all that. I like his little combos. I don't know, just my style is V1 or V3.
Sounds good. Like, I don't know. I'm not sold on him. I know I'm catching a lot of flack from people in that he looks kind of meh to me. Like, Rain looked really, really cool, and Rambo looks kind of dry, in my opinion. And so a lot of people are giving me a hard time about that. But, yeah, whatever. I don't care. I say and do what I want. Hello? You still there? Did your mic cut out? I'm alone. Oh, man. Maybe I should do like one of those rants. Let me see if he gets back in. Pony, pony, pony. Pony, pony, pony has done it again. Ponies, we're having some technical difficulties. We may have to restart the podcast here in a sec. Because I don't know what's going on with Ponies. Pony. It still shows him in the server. But I can't hear him. Damn, there he is. What happened?
Yeah, okay. I told you my headphones might be a little tricky, but other than that, I'm not gone.
Oh, okay. I'm not editing that shit out. I'm going to leave it in there. You know what I mean? I'm going to leave it in there so that way the people can know that you trying to do a podcast with some ornery ass fucking equipment. You know what I'm saying? Ornery motherfucker. You know,
I learned from my experiences, you know.
everybody always wants to hit me up. Like me and Ponies were kind of discussing this during sound test. Everybody always hits me up wanting to be on the podcast, like people all throughout the week. And then when Sunday comes, everybody's ghost. And I'm like, dude, everybody's like, how come you never let me be on that podcast? And I'm like, I let anybody. I don't give a shit, right? That's just kind of how I live my life. But Sunday rolls around, I can't fucking find nobody. But the rest of the week, everybody's like, man, how come you never asked me to be on the podcast? I ask everybody. These kids these days, I'm telling you. Anyways, we were talking about Rambo, right? So, like, I don't know, man. Rambo feels like, from what I saw in the Kombat cast, he looks like Kano. And I don't like Kano. I did not realize until I tried to actually get good with Kano how much I fucking hate this character. Like, before I was like, yeah, Kano, he's fun, he's cool. But, like, it was like, he's fun when you're just trying to troll people and be a dick. But if you're trying to win, he's like the most fucking obnoxiously fucking irritating character to play, to try to win with.
Well,
it's so hard.
Definitely not a personality, so I don't know.
It's so hard.
But for me, like, Rambo seems different.
Well, he just looks like he does the same thing, like that hit and run. Like, apparently people have been frame counting and he's going to have good mids. But in my opinion, like it seems like his whole game plan is just like hit and run, like stand in the nooch and like throw some shit on screen. And then when they make a mistake and you open them up, you can go in and then do like a little tiny fucking 3-hit string and then go back to throwing shit on the ground and waiting for them to make a mistake. And I'm like, all right, man, if your entire gameplay can be satisfied with like, 1-1-2 and then special move, like, then I guess you'll have fun with Rambo. But like for me, like, I get bored of just like special moves and 2 or 3 hit strings. Like, I gotta have some kind of depth to it, man. Like, I feel like MK11, I get what they were trying to do, right? They were trying to balance, like, design this game around people that fucking suck at fighting games. And I respect that. I definitely respect that they tried to design the game around people that suck. Because, you want people that suck to get better and keep playing. But I feel like MK11 was designed by people that hate fighting games to appeal to people that hate fighting games. And that there was enough fighting game shit in there to satisfy people like me who love fighting games. But for the most part, every design seems to be more about people that hate fighting games and making it easier for people who hate fighting games to maybe give fighting games a chance. But I feel like the reality is, if someone hates this genre, then like simplifying it down to dummy status isn't going to bring them on board. But what do you think?
Actually, I don't know. I've been loving fighting games since forever, but I don't even know why I ended up playing this one so seriously. Because I liked every MK that ever came out, so it just makes. I guess I just picked it up.
But I'm saying, like, the core design, like the way this game is like put together, it just seems like everything that is fighting games, they tried to like remove or tone down. And it's like almost like I said, like as if someone hated all that stuff and wanted it removed, So like extended combos are like basically gone for the majority of the cast, right? If you think about the roster as every variation being its own separate character, which is how I consider it. This game doesn't have 30 characters. It has like 100 and something. Because each variation is like a separate character. If you look at the cast, look at the character select screen of, whatever 100 characters, only like barely a third of them have extended combos. And I don't mean like long ass MKX, like, full wall carry 30-second long combos. I'm not talking like Marvel vs. Capcom or Tekken level shit. But like even to do something of like string into special move, into string, into special move. To just loop that twice, right? String, and then you end it with a special move that launches, then you do another string into another special to end your combo. Like even something that simple, like 75% of the cast does not have that. Like, I have Jax on screen right now, and, like, he has no way to extend combos outside of catching you on an anti-air or landing a down 2 crushing blow. And it's like, I get trying to like mellow out on combos, but like for a character to just not have any, like, what the fuck is that? Like, what is that?
The
like,
1-2 special move.
Yeah, I hit, forward 3-3 grab, forward 3-3 grab. Like if you play hunker down jacks, and that's it. That's the extent of the input that the player is giving the character. And like, I just don't get why they went in that direction. I don't know. I don't have a problem with characters having short combos, and I don't even care that like have a problem with variations having short combos. But the vast majority, like you look at like a character like the Joker, and it's like he has one combo extender that's exclusive to one variation. So 2 out of 3 Joker variations can't even do extended combos. And combos are like, when you think of fighting games, the first thing you think about is combos. So like, how is it this is a fighting game, the #1 fighting game in the world, and like there's hardly anything in it that's like fighting game basics that people love? Like, people don't play fucking fighting games to fucking shoot. I don't get it. Like, they're trying to turn Mortal Kombat into a third-person shooter. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, the Fortnite crowd isn't going to play this game. They're not old enough.
Well, maybe it's like the first time they're trying to find a balance between both and just got carried away.
Well, it's just like, I don't know what was. I know their intention was to make the game easier. And usually with those DLC guest characters, they try to go even more so on there, like make them even more so easier, because like people that are interested in Rambo are probably going to buy the game for Rambo or RoboCop or Terminator. They don't really give two shits about Mortal Kombat. The idea is that the guests are a gateway drug, right? Here, try this Rambo. Oh, you like that? Okay, here's Scorpion. Okay, here's Katana, right? And so when they buy these guest characters, they'll convert from a Rambo fan to also being a Mortal Kombat fan. So you want Rambo to be pretty easy to use, because the people that are going to be drawn to him probably have no fighting game background. But like, I feel like those characters should be training wheels that are removable, right? Like, you have the training wheels on, and then like after a certain point, okay, we're going to take the training wheels off, and now you got to learn how to play fighting games. And it just doesn't really seem like that. And that's what's kind of letting me down about Rambo, is he looks very basic. Like, Rambo gives me the like aftertaste of like RoboCop. Like, he's going to be very, very basic, very, very simple. He's going to be like, the entire gameplay around him is spam special moves, because beginners can't do anything other than special moves. And like, that's it. Like, the whole process of playing Rambo is spam special moves, go in, do a strike throw, get your like 3-hit fucking canned dial a combo string of 3-3-4, right? And then go back to spamming special moves. And like, that's going to be the gameplay loop of what Rambo is all about. Like, that's what a player is going to do with the controller. And that doesn't excite me, man. Like, to see that that's kind of what he's going to do. Like, when I have the character on screen and I'm holding the controller, what am I going to do? I'm going to spam special moves in the mid-range, and then when I get in close, I'm going to mix up either a 3-hit string or a grab and use that to go back into mid-range and spam more special moves. I don't know why people find that fun.
How many people on the roster can actually not do that, though?
I mean, like
most everybody goes straight into special move anyway.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it's fine that every character can do it. I just don't like that every character can only do that. And, like, that's kind of what it is right now, is, like, fucking special move. So a 1-2-3 special move, that's your combo. Like, why is that? I don't get why that's, like, the core of the game. I would do it if I were in charge of NetherRealm and designing this game. I would actually go in the opposite direction. I would make it to where 2 out of 3 characters have advanced mechanics, and there would be one beginner style character.
One?
Yeah, so like, instead of like Kotal Khan, where you have Ascension that has like all this depth to it, and then you have like Totemic and Bullock that are basically fucking my first video game characters, right? I would make it the opposite. I would make it to where he had 2 variations that were as deep and intricate as Ascension, and then one variation, like maybe Bullock or Totemic, like one of them wouldn't like be the one without combos and tick throws and setups and things like that. So that way, like, if you're a beginner, and then I'd mark that on the variation select, right? I would say this is, easy, medium, and hard. So that way people know, like, okay, I'm a beginner, I should play Seeing Double Noob SAIBOT, and then the people that are more advanced will play, the other two, Pitch Black and Dark Sabbath, and like actually have that on there. So that way you can design variations that are more beginner friendly, and then have that one training wheels version of the character, and then have two variations that have more depth instead of the opposite, like Joker, where it's like he has one character variation with any depth, and one character variation with combos, and then one character variation that's for beginners. There just shouldn't be so much beginner shit. There should be enough beginner shit to get beginners interested, and then like advanced stuff to keep them hooked after they've gotten initially interested.
I think everybody's still going to stay hooked because of the characters, but other than that, I'm just anxious for patches and all this great stuff that they think they're coming up with, but I don't know exactly how they're going to fix all this random stuff that's going on.
Well, did you see? So when I made the Rambo... I thought I silenced my alerts. My bad. But anyways... Hey, YouTube, this is live on Twitch when you're watching this a week later. Let me silence those. Hey, thanks for the follow, whoever that was. But let me silence my alerts because we're recording a podcast for YouTube. But thank you for the follow, survived combatants. And, no, anyways, what was I saying? I was saying something.
Your Rambo cast.
Something about Rambo. Something about,
the Rambo, when you saw the Kombat cast?
Well, yeah, I'm just saying that I don't like that they... Oh, no, yeah, the end of the Kombat cast. So during my Rambo reveal reaction video, when they got to the birthday shoutouts, I cut it, right? I was just like, yeah, I don't really need to watch the birthday shoutouts. It's not my birthday, and nobody wants my reaction to fucking birthday shoutouts. So I cut the video, but like the last 5 minutes, they kind of covered what was going to be in the Molina Kombat cast, and I didn't react to that. I didn't comment on that. And so I was like, I'll cover that on the podcast anyways, and we can discuss that. So like I was kind of excited when I saw that, because I saw it, I think on like Tom Brady's video or something. He had done a reaction for just that little like 5-second clip at the end of the podcast.
Yeah, everybody was talking about it so fast.
Yeah, and so I was like, I could fill an entire podcast with like discussion on that. So for those of you that don't know, for those of you that just watched this stuff on YouTube, and I didn't cover it in the YouTube, at the end of the Kombat cast, Stephanie mentions like a little brief hint as to what's coming in the Molina podcast, or the Molina Kombat cast, and some of the gameplay changes that they're going to implement. And one of them that was a big one is that they are overhauling the variation system. So that's a lot to unpack. What do you think?
I don't really know if they really just said overhaul, truthfully. I just think it just seemed like he was maybe either adding one or it just seems like, I don't know. He just seems like it's going to be some more custom, I think.
Well, so she said that there was going to be an overhaul or changes to the variation system, and that it's pretty big. So, the community's kind of like right now theorizing what that would probably entail. So at first notice, like obviously there could be fourth variations. They could just change.
Could just add extra slot.
Yeah. So like the things I'm thinking are either fourth variations. Either they're going to add new moves that aren't already in the game and make variations with that. They're going to rearrange variations. They could add moves that aren't tournament legal to the current variations. They could take certain moves and make them universal to all variations. They could add extra points to the variations so you can have more moves. Like, there's a lot of shit that they could do. It's very vague. It could be a lot, it's very vague what she said. So, I mean, that's why
it's about variation.
That's why I said we could fill a whole fucking podcast just discussing what they could potentially do, I'm
still going to fight for Concut Universal, so that's all I really want. I don't care about anything else that much.
Well, I mean, you guys that have been around for a while know that, in my opinion, I think every character needs two things to either be competitive or be actually fun to play. And if they added these two things to more variations, then honestly, I would be 100% satisfied with that. And that would be making every character have some sort of combo extender and every character having a good 11 frame mid. If every character had combos and mids, then that means any character can play at any range. Like characters will have more utility, and then it would just be a lot more fun to play. I don't know. What do you think, Ponies?
True. I think definitely true. Because like most characters don't have good mids, and then are they either too slow or they need more distance, or it takes too long, too many frames. So but most of the characters I play really don't have good mids. Except one.
Pretty much. No, Collector has a good mid. He has a 10 frame mid.
Nah, he has a 10 frame. Yeah.
And you were playing the variation that combos off of his 10 frame mid. So I don't know what you're complaining about.
I'm just saying, other characters that I go through, I stick to him most of the time, though. Right. Most of my players who I like to be up close with, they don't have mids that I enjoy. So.
Well, I don't think a character has to have, per se, exactly like a 10 or 11 frame mid if they have ways to get around mashing. The problem in the game is the mashing, especially because we live in an online world. Offline, it's easier to deal with mashing. But online, it's like fucking impossible. Like those of you who have been watching, my VODs and replays on YouTube, like, and fucking Cabalsack doesn't edit out my losses. I'm the only fucking MK content creator that actually uploads their losses, and it's not my choice. My editor keeps my losses in the videos, and I'm like, why are you posting my losses? And he's like, because you're bad at this game. And I'm like, okay, all right, well, I guess that makes sense. But like, you see how hard it is to deal with mashing, and having a good mid is, from what I found, the best way to deal with mashing. And if you don't have a good mid, you just kind of are at the mercy of mashing. And so KAHN, like with Ascension having the command grab, that's a true mid. And so if someone's mashing, you can just down one into command grab to stop their mashing. Like either having a good special move you can cancel off of a poke, or having a good mid. And that's it. Like that's what you have. That's the only way to really stop mashing consistently, especially online. So if characters don't have that, they're just kind of bad. Like you look at Scarlet, she doesn't have a good mid. She doesn't have a special move that she can cancel to instantly stop mashing when she makes the read. She literally has to hit it down one and pray that you keep mashing and don't block and go for a jail. And try to land that tight link into the jail online. And if she's just a frame off on that jail, she's eating a poke and she's getting mashed on. Like, that's the problem with this game, and too many characters don't have any way of dealing with that.
I also play characters that play kind of good online, honestly.
What was that you were breaking up, Chief?
I said I play characters that actually are kind of nice online as well, because like the execution is kind of bad sometimes, but other than that, I can get away with a bunch of stuff online as well. And I picture if I would ever play offline, my character would be way more better, and I'll stop complaining. But yeah.
That's the thing is, like, when you play characters like fucking KAHN and you're not playing Ascension, like you can make them work offline, but we live in an online world, and it's very hard to make a character work without a decent mid or a special move cancel into a decent mid. It could be unsafe. I don't have a problem with it being unsafe, but like at least something to make the call out. Right now, if somebody's mashing down ones and down threes, like you can't make a call out and say, no, fuck you. Like you kind of have to land a poke and hope that you can land the jail if you don't have a good mid. And I feel like that's asking.
You can never really land it.
Yeah, and like I know why they did it that way, because they don't want every character to have like obnoxious up close pressure. But like at the end of the day, like Mortal Kombat was always the more aggressive in your face fighting game anyway. So why is there a problem with it being very pressure heavy? I don't see why people don't like that. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, me personally, I've only been playing for about 6-7 months, so I'm learning all this nonsense at the moment. But other than that,
well, and like, that's the thing is like someone like
time for some Sunday morning loud pause.
What's up, CEMAC? I thought I turned off the alerts. I literally went to go turn off the alerts. Pony, are you hearing the alerts?
Yeah, I heard them.
Hey, thank you for the sub, EMAC. We're doing the podcast right now. But No, what I'm saying is that one of the things about this game being kind of like beginner focused, but in a way that seems designed by people that hate fighting games, is when you have someone like you who's very new to fighting games and you jump on with Mortal Kombat, and this game is so wonky that it just rewards bad habits and bad play. And so you end up building these bad habits, and then you go to other fighting games and you're like, oh shit, like I'm going to get fucked up. Like, you know, I keep up with the Tekken community, and in the Tekken community, it's kind of a meme and a joke among Tekken players, because they're like, oh yeah, you could tell who came from Mortal Kombat because they mash grabs. They just spam grabs. You could tell who's a Mortal Kombat player when they play Tekken because they mash out grabs, and that's not a good idea in Tekken to just mash grabs and go for grabs as much as you do. Like, that'll get you killed. And those bad habits are carrying over into other games. People will play Mortal Kombat. They'll like it. They're like, let's see what else is in this genre. Let me play Guilty Gear. Let me play Tekken. Let me play Street Fighter. And they bring these bad habits that only work in Mortal Kombat to other games, and they get fucked up, and now they hate fighting games. They're like, dude, these games fucking suck except for Mortal Kombat. And it's like...
When it's MK11, it's like grabs over everything.
Right? Like... Grabs just beat everything. That's just a thing in this game.
You don't pick them, nothing. Grabs over everything.
You know, like, oh, you're going to do a poke? Yeah, I'm going to grab that. You know, like...
You know, neutral duck and take a full combo to the face.
Right? Like, you know, I'm going to mash, like, down ones. Like, you sit there and mash on, like, Street Fighter or Guilty Gear, you get frame trapped into full combo with a wall carry and an Oki splat. Like, you're fucked. Right? You just mashed into a fucking frame trap and you're dead. But in Mortal Kombat 11, like, if you mash, eventually it's going to hit, and then you can give them a 50-50 strike throw mix. Like, what the fuck? There's so many bad habits in this game, and I'm hoping Ultimate fucking fixes that. Because if they can fix some of the bad habits, if they can make it to where you can actually be punished for doing stupid shit, then this game could be fixed. Like, I feel like the core... the base that they have is so fucking perfect and so well designed that if they got rid of the stupid shit, this would easily be the best fighting game of all time. That's my hot take.
I still don't understand get rid of the breaker thing. It's kind of weird. Most of the games I ever played have breaker.
Well, the reason why they did what they did with breaker is because there should be some risk versus reward on certain things. So at MKX, you had like super unsafe shit. And you could just throw them out there in the neutral willy-nilly and not have to give a fuck. Because if you had breaker and they blocked it and they went to punish it, you could just instantly break. So it allowed you to play more recklessly. So they made it to where when you break away, it doesn't reset to neutral. It knocks you down and puts you in a hard knockdown. And that would actually work, right? Because, like, okay, I'm going to sacrifice the damage. I got hit with a combo, but I'm going to escape the combo and not take damage. And then I'm going to instead take the wake-up mix-up in order to, you know, it's the risk versus reward. I'm going to risk the wake-up mix-up and possibly getting comboed again to escape this combo now. That's a cool mind game. But the problem is wake-up in this game is fucking broken. Like, wake up doesn't mean anything, and they break away, and they just get up and punish you for breaking away. Like, that's the problem. Breakaway would work if they couldn't punish you when they got up.
Yeah, I don't get all. Yeah, never played a game where you can roll, safe, backwards safe, everything's safe.
Dude, you're breaking up. You sound like a fucking Decepticon.
Do I?
Yeah, you're good now. But I agree. I kind of got what you said. Go ahead and repeat that one more time.
I just don't like how you can roll back save, go forward save, lay down save, break save. Like, I got to think for you. I got to think what you're going to do every single time, even though I'm doing all the thinking.
I mean, it's fine for them to have wake-up options. Like, I mean, this game doesn't even have nearly as many. No, this game doesn't have nearly as many wake-up options as Tekken. Like, Tekken, you can do more shit off the ground than you can in Tekken. Or, I mean, in Tekken, you can do more shit off the ground than you can in MK. Like, in Tekken, you have a lot of shit you could do. You could, because it's 3D, so you could roll background, roll forward, roll to the foreground. You can do get-up attacks. You could do all kinds of shit. Low parries. Like, there's a lot of things you can do on the ground in Tekken, but Tekken gives you ways of, like, dealing with them. Mortal Kombat doesn't.
You roll through the player on the roll on Tekken?
No, but you can roll into the foreground and background, which is basically the same. Like if somebody tries to like do a mid on your wake up and you side roll, like it's basically the same thing as forward and back roll. Because you just roll past them and get up and punish them. But like there's ways of dealing with it in Tekken. There's not ways.
Oh yeah, not really. I get what you're saying. Not really that much to deal. You can't really deal with it on this game. Yeah.
In this game, you have to make a hard guess, and every guess you make is super punishable for a full combo. So at the end of the day, the best option on wake up is to just back up and let them get up, and that's not good. That's not good at all.
That's actually my real problem. Then no way to really punish it.
Yeah. Well, what I was suggesting before was if they added like short OTGs like they do in Tekken. Tekken deals, because the real problem is delay buttons, which they've already fixed it, like, or they're working on it, right? But what I was suggesting was if there was like a ground stomp or something that was like an OTG specific move, because in Tekken, like if somebody stays on the ground and tries to like delay buttons, like you get like a stomp, like Kazuya has like down and kick, and he just steps on you, and it does like mediocre damage. It does like no damage, but if they stay on the ground, you just keep stomping them, and those stomps add up. And if MK had something like that to discourage people from just laying on the ground and waiting to do delay buttons, like it would actually fix it. But they went scorched earth instead and just said, yeah, we're not going to have different delay timings. We're just going to have one single delay. And I don't know that I agree with that, but I want to see how it plays out.
Oh, the one that's coming up now.
Yeah, so in the patch, they removed short delay. You only have long delay. And if you do a delayed get up, your character does an animation. So they know very much that you are doing delayed wake up. So they can easily change the timing of their meaties to catch you. Like, I guess, well, it fixes the problem, sorta. It fixes the problem of delay buttons, but it doesn't fix the problem of, like, wake up still being really, really strong. If they remove the invincibility on wake up, especially like delayed wake up, to where if someone delays and you call it out and delay your meaty to catch their delayed wake up, and now they don't have invincibility and you can get a full combo, that fixes the problem, and then they wouldn't need OTGs. So that's why I'm like, I want to see what they do. I want to see how they how this is implemented, the removal of short delay. Because if you could just still long delay and still have invincibility on wake up, like, it doesn't really fix the problem. They're still just going to do delay wake up buttons, and you're still going to be encouraged to back up and just let them get up for free, which is bad.
If there's one wake up, I could definitely, because I know how long it's going to be. Everybody's going to know how long the wake up is. So if it's invincible, then all of a sudden it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if you delay the timing. If they're still invincible, then you still have to stand back and just kind of let them do what they want to do until they get up. Because you're still going for a meaty, you're still running the risk of eating an up 3 or an up 2. And that's the problem, is like they already have an invincible option. Like, you don't need 2 invincible options. The whole point of the up 3 is to be invincible. So, like, why are you going to be invincible with an up 3 and invincible when you delay? Like, that's overkill. And delay being free is just too much. And those are the little things, those are the little wiggly things that just kind of fuck up this game. If wake-ups were fixed, I think people have a problem with breakaway, but I think if they fixed wake-up, or if this change that they're proposing to the game fixes wake-up, then I don't think breakaways will be a problem. Breakaways would actually be nerfed if there were wake up options. Breakaways, that would indirectly nerf breakaways, because right now you can break away, right? You spend your 2 bars to break away
and then wake up, can't you?
And then wake up with delay buttons. Use the invincibility to delay wake up to basically get a free up 3. Only it leads to a full unscaled combo, right? Because if you wake up with an up 2, it's scaled. If you wake up with an up 3, you can't really combo unless you're like Kung Lao or Garrus. Like, certain characters can, but they're super scaled. The damage is kind of weak. But if you get up with delay buttons, you get a full unscaled combo that's invincible basically on the startup, because you're invincible as you're getting up. So it destroys the risk versus reward. So you can break away for free, Because you don't need your meter for get up. But if they nerf get up and they made it to where you had to spend meter to get up safely to stop pressure, that would make breaking away get nerfed because you can't just break away. It now becomes a choice. If I break away, I lose wake up.
Yeah.
You know, so like they've got to fix the wake up system more than anything. I don't think breakaway would be an issue. People would break away less willy-nilly if wake up wasn't so fucking jank.
I think they kind of don't break away as much now anyway. The armor breakers, I guess.
Yeah, but not every character even fucking has that shit.
That is
like
true.
Some characters have it.
But, I guess.
And again, when I say characters, I count variations as a character, right? So I don't look at the character select screen and say there are 30 characters. I say there are 100 characters in this game, and 2/3 of them don't have an armor break.
Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't say make them breakers universal, but I would just say, I mean, they're not going to get rid of it. But at the same time, yeah, they need to find a way to not make it so prominent in the game.
Well, I mean, if they made it to where you actually needed your defensive bar for anything other than breakaway, then people would think twice before breaking away. But right now, you only really need, unless you're playing like Reborn Scorpion or Orbital Hat Lao, you don't need defensive meter for anything other than breakaway. And the game is now balanced around characters that have breakaway and characters that don't. If you use meter for anything other than breakaway, then you just don't have breakaway. And if you don't have to use meter, like if you're playing Warlock Shang Tsung, who doesn't really have cancels and doesn't need his defensive meter for anything other than breakaway, because he could just do delayed buttons to be invincible.
Yeah, it's true.
It fucks up the risk versus reward, and it fucks up like the balance, because there are some characters, like if you play Reborn Scorpion or Mean Streak Cabal and you need defensive meter for cancels in order for your character to function, then you just don't have breakaway, and so you're at a disadvantage because you don't have one of the fundamental tools that the rest of the cast does.
This is true.
So, like, you know, it's so shitty. Like, they have to fix wake up. If they fix wake up, everything will kind of start falling into place. And so I'm excited
just so excited about this patch, because either they're going to just do the best job ever, or it's going to just be like, okay, what happened?
I feel like this patch is do or die time. I honestly do. Because people kind of expected more out of Aftermath, and Aftermath was really, really conservative. They didn't really change a whole lot. They just kind of added more of what was already there. It's like, here's some more characters that don't really have good mids and a whole lot of combo potential, and here's some story mode, and we're not really going to touch the balance. Like, Jackie's still going to be stupid. Garrus is still going to be playing a different game from everybody else. Like, Cetrion is still going to be playing a different game from everybody else. And that's why people were let down by Aftermath. And, like, Aftermath didn't really save the community the way people expected.
I actually didn't even buy Aftermath until, like, 2 months out, because I wasn't really feeling it.
Yeah, and so I think, like, Ultimate is kind of their, like, Hail Mary pass. Like, they've got to do some pretty big shit with Ultimate to kind of get people to come back. Because, like, even now when I'm not streaming and I try to play the game in my free time, like I try to do Combat League, I'm waiting a long time between matches, and all of my matches are shitty connection. So that tells me there's not a lot of people playing, and we just started the season of Reptile. So, like, at the beginning of the season is when you have the most... Yeah, you have the most people playing at the beginning of the season because people try to hit Demigod as quick as possible so they don't ever have to fuck with Combat League again. But now we're at the point where, like, at the beginning of the season, there's hardly anybody playing. And that's bad.
Yeah, I think I played 3 matches just because of the gear I wanted.
Yeah. And, like, that's gonna be a problem. You know, going forward, the bleed out is just gonna get worse and worse. You know, unless they can find a way to get people to come back. And I think Ultimate being their Hail Mary place or pass is like their one chance to get people to come back. They've got to do some serious overhauls. That much is sure.
They say they said they're one of the MK11 is going to be the game that they actually continue trying to make better instead of just the 2-year process.
And I like that. Like, I would rather, and this is like another hot take I get criticized for, but I would rather MK just go full games as a service. Just go full Fortnite. I would honestly be cool with that. Like,
yeah, I'm down with the whole every character in history on the game kind of thing.
Right? Like, if they just said, okay, yeah, you know what, MK11, we're going full games as a service, and we will eventually have every character ever in Mortal Kombat added as DLC. We'll add every costume and stage to the game eventually. We're just going to keep adding content to it forever, and then you can buy it if you want or whatever. Like, honestly, I think that model works for fighting games. Like, games as a service is shitty for any game that's focused on story, because, like, stories have to have a beginning, middle, and end. But, like, multiplayer games don't need that. Like, as long as I have somebody to fight, I have a game. You know, you can't do games as a service for, like, Cyberpunk, which is like an open world RPG. Like, what are you going to keep adding new fucking story chapters forever? Like, eventually you can't. But with a fighting game, you can just keep adding characters.
Also gives them time to be more creative and give, like, characters with combos, characters with more this style. You can actually do a longer, like, thought process about making things better, rather than just rushing everything and thinking you can just fix it in a couple months, you know?
Well, and the thing is, fighting games are meant to be played in the long term. Like a fighting game is meant to be played more than, like, The Witcher 3. Like, the whole thing with The Witcher 3 is, it's a big, long game. It's like 100 hours, right? I mean, that's how long it took me to beat it. But, like, a fighting game is supposed to be infinite. You know, as long as I have somebody to fight, there's always going to be new shit to do because everybody plays different. So, like, I feel like for story games, I'm not really into games as a service. Like, if they were going to release fucking Witcher 4 and it was going to be always like Anthem, like always online, game as a service, fucking single player game, you could fuck off with that. If I'm playing a story game, I want a story with a beginning, middle, and end. You know, I don't want to fucking sit here and grind for loot forever just to even experience half the story. Like, fuck you with that. But with a fighting game, I'd be cool with them just never ending. You know, if I'm playing Mortal Kombat 11 10 years from now, like, I think it works.
What game is that? That's like Dota or something like that?
Yeah, like Dota, League of Legends, Fortnite, Counter-Strike, like all those, like, online multiplayer games that just don't end. Like, they just constantly, like, they're constantly making new shit for Fortnite. They're constantly making new shit for Dota. Like, I could see them, and I would support NetherRealm doing that with Mortal Kombat. Like, I would be cool with that.
It looks great. I don't think they would have to even make another game if they keep it like put everything they want on it on this game.
Well, and that was the thing I was discussing in Discord the other day is, like, I get the impression that NetherRealm is kind of getting bored with making fighting games because that's all they do. And everybody's like, no, they're not bored of making fighting games. And I'm like, yeah, like, I feel like they're kind of bored of making fighting games because, you know, they're constantly talking about, oh, yeah, man, we love the RPG mode from Deception. And, oh, we would love to do a Shaolin Monks. And our next game after MK11 is not going to be like anything we've ever done before. That, to me, tells me they're not making another fighting game. And it seems like as a development studio, they're... You know, they want to stretch their wings. They want to do other shit. They're artists. They're creatives. They make shit. They want to make something new other than a fighting game. And that's the impression that I get from NetherRealm is that they want to make something new. And if they made MK11 a game as a service, like, well, we'll just continue to support with DLC, characters, skins, stages, whatever, and just go on. That would open the rest of the studio up to be able to make, like, another MK RPG or another MK Shaolin Monks beat 'em up. And I'd be down for a Mortal Kombat RPG. Come on, man. Don't tell me you wouldn't. If they made, like, a game like The Witcher or fucking Fallout and they posted it in the Mortal Kombat universe and you just made a character and you did quests for the Lin Kuei and explored NetherRealm and Outworld, don't tell me that shit wouldn't be fucking dope.
Oh, it'd be like the Crypt, but actual game.
Right? Or, well, I don't know if you played Deception, but Deception had its own, like, single-player open world RPG mode with its own story and cutscenes and quests and shit. Imagine if they, like, that was like a side mode in Deception, but imagine if they made a whole fucking big budget AAA game that was like an MK RPG. Dude, People would love that shit. And the people that love the fighting game would still have MK11 because they're still making DLC. They'd still be making more characters. You can still go back and keep playing the fighting game, which would be good because it takes a long time to get good at fighting games anyways. So all that would do is just give people time to get better at the game and actually learn to get good. And then if you want more story content, you want to know what happens with Chronica, that will be followed up in the RPG game. And I think if they did that...
do the whole lore in an actual game?
Like, because I feel like MK as a franchise, as an intellectual property, is so open that they could do so much shit. Like, you look at Nintendo, right, and what they do with their franchises. Mortal Kombat could be the next Final Fantasy, basically. Well, no, I think Mortal Kombat could be like Mario. Because you look at Mario, and they have, like, the regular Mario games, the platformer, the 2D platformer, and they always make those. And so if you love Mario and the original Mario, there's always another 2D platformer. But then they've taken that whole Mario universe, and they've made spin-offs that are nothing like 2D platformers. You have Smash, that's like a platform fighter. You have Mario Kart. You have Mario Party, Mario Tennis. Like, they have all these offshoot games in different genres using the Mario universe. And I think they could do that. They've already shown that they could do that. Like, you know, they have Puzzle Combat, they have Motor Combat, like, which is Mario Kart with MK characters. They have the Deception RPG. They have Shaolin Monks, which is a hack and slash beat 'em up. Like, the Mortal Kombat universe and the story and the characters, I feel, are iconic enough to where they could do other genres and it would work and people would love it. They don't have to just do fighting games. Like, you're telling me that people wouldn't buy a Mortal Kombat game where the main character was Scorpion and you basically play Devil May Cry but with Scorpion and just do Scorpion combos all day, fucking juggles and like Devil May Cry but with Scorpion? Who fucking wouldn't buy that game? Because I would buy the shit out of that game. I would play Scorpion May Cry. You know what I mean?
Scorpion's like my guaranteed OG favorite character.
That shit would be dope. Or like imagine like, you know, a third person, like if they made like Call of Duty Black Ops and it's like a first person shooter, but you played as like Sonya and Jax and it was set in the Mortal Kombat universe. Like that would basically be Doom. Doom is like, cause Doom is a first person shooter. You play as a soldier and you fucking shoot monsters and aliens and shit, right? From hell. And that's Mortal Kombat. Like if they just said, okay, yeah, you play as player 1 is Sonya, player 2 is Jax. Go to Outworld and shoot Barakas, right? People would buy that.
I believe it, but I don't think they're done with fighting games. Though.
I don't think they're done with fighting
games. Done,
I just feel like they want to make other stuff. I don't think they're done.
I think they try something really new. I know, I hear you, but I just think they try something really new and just trying to figure it out the best way they can.
But what I'm saying is they wouldn't have to be done with fighting games. They could keep, while they make like this fucking open world fucking RPG or this fucking Devil May Cry featuring Scorpion, they could keep putting out DLC. Yeah, they could put out another character and say, hey, this isn't our next game, but while you're playing our next game, you could still hop on Mortal Kombat 11 and we added a new DLC character for you to keep playing with. So the game would stay fresh while they're still releasing other shit. So like, I would be down for that. Personally, I would.
If a fighting game company was tired of making them, or tired, or just want to spread their wings, I think it would be kind of bad because they wouldn't focus as much on this game or the actual fighting game.
Well, but this game is done. What else is there to focus on?
I'm just saying, you've been making fighting games forever, then you make something else, and then now we won't get any good fighting games later on.
Well, I feel like we already have a good fighting game. It's this one. It just needs some tweaks. And this game is done. Like, I mean, this game is a full product. You know, it's not like this game was half released. There's story mode. There's content. There's tons of characters. The fucking online, like, it's not perfect, but it works. It gets the job done. Like, there's still, like, the game is done. So all they would have to do for fighting games is just maintenance mode. Have a, you know, a smaller team, maybe half the team or a third of the team that just makes new characters. Because it doesn't, like, they don't need the entire studio to make another character. And if they just released, like, 3 characters a year, like 1 character every 3 months or 4 months, right? That's enough content drip feed to keep the community playing this game. And while they have the rest of the team, the bulk of NetherRealm, work on something else. I hope that's what they're doing. I don't know that's what they're doing, but I would be cool with them doing that.
If it was that way, it'll be kind of, I'll be okay with that. But like, I think if they get into all that other stuff, any fighting game after this one would just not be as good.
Maybe. I don't know. I think if they made a fighting game after this one and learned the lessons of what they did in this game and fixed it. I think the problem is that NetherRealm, like, you know, they pride themselves on the fact that you're never getting the same game with a different skin, right? That's one of the things that they said is, like, when we release a new Mortal Kombat, it's a new game. It's not a roster update. It's not Mortal Kombat X with better graphics. Like, it is a new game with new shit. Everything is new and different. And, like, a lot of the competitive community doesn't like that because they're like, okay, yeah, but my legacy skill doesn't transfer over. Like, I'm basically having to start over fresh every game. Well, if they extended the lifespan of the game, you don't have to start over fresh. And by the time they release another fighting game, you'll be ready to start over fresh. You'll want something new and fresh.
That's true.
So, like,
well, hopefully it's better than the last game.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. And I think that if they did that, then, you know, because a lot of the things that they did in MK11 were answers to MKX, but the problem is MKX plays nothing like MK11. So, like, having a million wake-up options worked in MKX because of the run mechanic and the mix-ups and just the oppressiveness of the offense. If you got knocked down in X, you were dead. So that's why they were like, okay, we got to add a lot of wake-up options. But then they slowed the game down, and it's like, dude, the wake-up system in this game would be perfect for X, and the wake-up system in X would be perfect for this game. But it's like backwards. And I don't like that all of their design decisions seem to be responses to the last game. If the last game is going to be nothing like the current game, then why are you responding to the last game with your design choice?
Well, don't they listen to their fans, yeah?
They do listen to their fans. Honestly, in my opinion, they listen to their fans too much. If there's a hot take that people are going to disagree with, that's going to be it. I think NetherRealm listens to their fans too much. They need to tell their fans.
I think they definitely always make their games around what the tweets and all this say, rather than just going by their, like, ideas.
Well, like, they always, because I'll look at patch notes and I'll see, like, changes made to the characters are always, they kind of reflect what the community is saying, which is fine because that means that they are listening. But, like, a lot of times that creates other problems, and that's why, like, patching is a double-edged sword with NetherRealm games, because they'll patch something, get rid of the cheap shit, but because they listen to the community suggests cheaper shit, and then they put that in the game, and now we have this fucking bunk-ass, crazy, overpowered, broken game. And, like, I think they need to me, it shows, like, a lack of vision. Because if they had a vision, if they said, this is what we want, like, Cabal to play like, this is what we want Liu Kang to play like, then they're going to be kind of zeroing in on that direction, on that vision. But when they sit there and they're like, oh, the community wants this, so we're going to change the character to fit what the community wants, then that means they weren't committed to their vision. They need to say, no, man, like, you know, Cetrion is a zoner. We're not going to add, like, good rushdown tools for her. She's supposed to be a zoner. And, like, if you're going to play Cetrion, you have to learn how to zone. Then they can balance it easier. But now we have fucking Variation 3 Cetrion, who's, like, one of the best rushdown characters in the fucking game. And it's like, because they listen to the community complain, like, yo, man, why can't you give us a rushdown Cetrion? And instead of sticking to their guns and saying, Cetrion's a zoner, fuck you. They're like, all right, we'll give her Variation 3 so you can rush down with Cetrion. And now she's the fucking most busted fucking shit in the game. And it's like, well, there you go. There goes that. I think they need to listen to the community less. Don't listen to the community, NetherRealm. Listen to your boy, the Beast of Legend. That's who you should listen to. You should listen to me.
They definitely need to listen to us sometimes because they need some major buffs for some people. But other than that, yeah, do your thing.
I honestly don't think they need to buff everybody that much. Just a few.
Not everybody. Just
even
a good amount of variation. That's why I'm so curious about these variations.
I think if they'd made small tweaks to every character, then every character would be viable. Like Scarlet, if they just sat there and gave her a good mid and a combo extender so she can actually hit confirm shit into a actual combo, Scarlet would be fucking good. People are like, oh, but what about the flawless block gaps? Doesn't matter. You wouldn't be worried about flawless block gaps if she had a good stagger. Like Kung Lao has tons of flawless block gaps, but does anybody fucking blow up his flawless block gaps? No, because of that forward one stagger. You don't know when the forward one's coming, so you're afraid to let go a block for the flawless block. So if Scarlet's forward 4, right, her 12 frame mid, her best mid, if that was 10 or 11 frames and she could stagger it, then it doesn't matter that there's a flawless block gap on the second hit. People would be afraid and they'd have to take a risk. Otherwise, they're going to eat that stagger that could hit confirm into a combo. So there would be play versus counterplay, and the flawless block gaps would actually serve their purpose of being a call out when someone is being predictable. Because right now it's just why wouldn't you try to flawless block? If Scarlet does forward 4, there's no reason to not let go a block and fish for the flawless block on forward 4-3. There's no reason. You just do it. But if she had a good stagger, then it's okay, do I let go a block? Because if she staggers, I'm going to miss the block and I'm going to eat a full combo. There's now play versus counterplay. So every character, if they had one little tiny change to every character, they would function better and they wouldn't need to nerf or buff a whole lot. I honestly don't think they would need to nerf upgraded Jackie all that much. Very, very small nerfs here and there if everybody had access to decent tools to be able to fight Jackie. Because you look at the characters that are able to fight Jackie, and it's those are characters that have good universal tools, Joker.
Honestly, I think they're just going to make a variation that can handle Jackie or something, or do something stupid like that. Or
right? Hold on. I think
a variation that can handle this person.
Sorry, someone was saying my lighting was off. I thought it was fine, but what were you saying, Ponies?
I would just say the way I think the variation thing, the way they mentioned it, I think they're probably just going to cover it up by making variations for certain characters to handle these characters in the game.
I honestly have no idea where they're going.
Instead of actually tweaking the moves, or they're gonna, it's just kind of, I don't know, just feel like that.
I don't think it's going to be one big universal change. I think it's going to be a bunch of small changes. That's kind of my opinion on what they're going to do, or my theory on what they're doing with variations, is that instead of saying, okay, now every variation has 5 points instead of 3, I think what they're going to do is do a case-by-case, character-by-character thing and say, okay, well, we're just going to change up Reborn and we'll make the teleport cancel universal, and then now instead of having Reborn as a variation, he's going to have a different variation. I think that's what they're going to do. The moves, I think what they're going to do is they're going to take the moves that people are finding to be core. You have to, if you're going to play Scorpion, you have to have the teleport cancel. Otherwise, he's just not viable. And they're going to make that stuff universal and then add different moves of the move sets. The other non-tournament variation moves, add those in as a new variation. That's my theory right now. Because you look at some characters, Sonya has to have ring cancel. Her other variations are just not viable without ring cancel. So, if they made ring cancel a universal mechanic for Sonya, all Sonyas just have ring cancel, and then the variations have different moves, I think that would be a buff to Sonya, and Sonya would be a lot more viable going forward.
Well, truthfully, I'm getting greedy, but I would like Collector to have a chakram cancel.
Well, I don't think they're ever going to give him chakram cancel, because I think that's the unique thing about Bola. The whole point of the Bola is that you have the cancel, and the whole point about the chakram.
Getting greedy. Yeah.
I mean,
that would make his third variation way more less weird.
Right? I don't know what kind of buffs or nerfs I would want. I honestly don't have a wish list outside of universal things. I don't have a list of things that I want them to buff for Kung Lao. I don't care. Just make him better. I want to see. I don't know. I want to see what they have in mind, what they would do, and then kind of decide from there whether or not I like it. Because my character Kung Lao, he's got a lot of problems, and I don't know that one small change could fix him, because his issue is whiffing issues on hitboxes. Fix his hitboxes, make shit not whiff, and then I'd be fine with that.
I don't like the way he disrespected Shao Kahn either.
I mean, the thing about Shao Kahn is he doesn't have a jail and he doesn't have a good mid. So what the fuck is this character supposed to do up close? That's the thing is like they haven't, like the players can't figure out what the fuck he's supposed to do. At least if he had a grab, it's like, okay, well, up close he's supposed to grab. It's like with Kotal Khan, it's like, okay, he does, you know, he's got to grab. Up close he's supposed to grab. But Kotal Khan also has a good fucking jail. So, like, it's like he has a jail and a grab. Shao Kahn doesn't have a grab. He doesn't have a jail. He has a good mid, but it's not that good because you can false block and interrupt and all of that. Like, Sub-Zero could just interrupt 4-3-4. There's another follow. Oh, man. I thought I needed those. But, like, Sub-Zero can just interrupt it. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but Sub-Zero could just interrupt. If Shao Kahn does 4-3-4, like, unless he does 4-3 into shoulder charge, you could just interrupt the second hit. You don't even need to flawless block. Like,
oh, yeah. I didn't know that.
What the fuck is this character supposed to do up close? Is he supposed to just be bad up close? Like, and then, like, he doesn't have any zoning. Like, what is he supposed to throw hammers and spears? Yeah, that's going to zone someone. You know? Like, so, like, he's just stuck in the mid-range, like, fishing for, like, standing ones and, like, standing twos and forward twos. Like, that's all Shao Kahn can do. If he get up close, mash down one and try to backdash. Like, that's Shao Kahn. The Kahn of Outworld, this big buff dude with a fucking skull for a helmet and a hammer, and, like, when I pick that character, I'm like, yeah, like I pick that character because I want to be a big buff dude with a hammer smashing things, and like his gameplay does not reflect that. You're mashing down pokes and you're punching them in the knees and then backdashing. Like, really? Because you look at Shao Kahn, yeah, like you look at Shao Kahn and he does not look like the kind of character that would want to spend all day backdashing, but yet that's what Shao Kahn does: jabs and backdashes.
Range character.
Like, that's that dissonance that, like, the character aesthetics don't match the actual gameplay. And I would just like for characters to match their actual gameplay. Like, I can picture someone like Collector being a character that backdashes a lot, right? Because he's like this evil, greedy little goblin guy, you know? Like this cowardly monster who steals money. Like, it would be in character for him to mostly backdash, right? Because he's kind of a, you know... He's kind of an evil IRS agent. But, like, this giant fucking warlord barbarian, he's the one that backdashes. There's some dissonance there to me.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. Can't be that big and running away from people.
Right? Like, I mean, if they designed him to be a big dude that ran away from people, like kind of like Lex Luthor in Injustice 1, like he's a big character, but he's also a zoner, so he wants to run away, and it makes sense. Lex Luthor, you know, he's not physically strong. He uses his technology. Okay, big character that runs away, that makes sense. But really, Shao Kahn is the big character that runs away in this game? Shao Kahn is the big, nasty zoner. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like RoboCop, okay, being the big, strong fucking guy that runs away. It's like, okay, well, RoboCop's all about guns and shooting people. That makes sense that RoboCop would be all about running away. But Shao Kahn, really? Man, give him a good mid, or at least make his jail fucking work. His jail is a one-frame link. If you land a down one, it's like fucking what, +10, and then his standing jab is like 9 frames or something. I forget what it is, but I know it's a 1-frame link. Yeah, that you're landing that.
It's tougher in the story than the actual game.
Yeah, like he's way more awesome in the story than when you actually play him, and I feel like that should not be the case. You should look at the character and say, "Oh man, like that guy looks cool. I bet he does cool shit." And he should play like he looks. I think that's the dissonance with like the game right now, is that characters don't play like they look. Like you look at Jade and she's like, you look at her intros and her outros and all of her taunts and all of her move lists, and she's like this super agile, acrobatic character who uses a lot of really fast moves, and she looks like she would be this aggressive like character that's jumping and flipping all over the place and doing cartwheels and stuff. And like, she's really not. She's a character that just kind of runs away and throws shurikens. And it's like, wait a minute, like who picks this character? Who picks the lithe, acrobatic ninja and says, I just want to shoot? And yeah, people do that because that's all she can do. But I don't think anybody picked Jade wanting to just run away and shoot. I think people pick Jade because they're like, wow, she looks like this really cool athletic ninja who fucking bounces around the screen, and I want to keep them guessing, where am I going to hit you next? That's why people that play Jade are always trying to mix up. Uh-oh. Did you just get kicked out of the Discord? We're having a lot of technical difficulties today, people. I guess I'll just keep talking until he can get back in. But, yeah, like this, it doesn't make sense. You look at characters, and some characters do what they look like they would do. Jax looks like a big, strong guy that's just going to go in and punch you in the face, and that's kind of what he does. So it works. But like other characters, they don't play like they look, and I think that they should be moving more in that direction. But, well, I guess Ponies isn't coming back. He disconnected or something. So, I guess that's the end of the podcast. We're at an hour anyways. So I'm going to catch up with chat. But, if you guys want to follow Ponies, he has no social media. He's just starting out. He's going to be commentating and stuff for a lot of the tournaments and try and get himself going in that direction. So if you look, if you keep your eye open, Caramelized Pony. Uh-oh, we got another sub. Caramelized Ponies, you can, if he makes a Twitter or whatever, you can follow him there. If he starts streaming, you can follow him there. You're right back. Well, we're calling it. We're at an hour. Welcome back. But, yeah.
Oh, yes, Caramelized Pony. I only have Twitch. I don't do social media. Well, you can hit me on Caramelized Pony Twitch.
And you can always find him in my Discord. He's a very active member of our Discord community. Helps a lot of people get sets and level up. So if you want to get good at this game, Ponies is definitely someone to be a training dummy for you. But I'll tell you this much, he's not going to go down easy. And then as far as my socials, you guys know where to find me. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, SoCal Honey Badger. Except on Twitter, I think it's SoCal Honey Badge 1. Because I couldn't fit the whole thing in there. But yeah, that's going to be this episode of the Kombat Pack podcast. Everybody who wants to be guests, everybody are always hitting me up to be a guest, and nobody actually shows up on podcast day. I don't want to hear it from you people. All right? And
podcast day. My first one, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Right. We're going to try and cycle more of the community into these so that way everybody can kind of, be a part of that. And, because I don't like it being my podcast. I want it to be our podcast. But I'm the only one who's here consistently. Anyways, Pony, I'll get at you later, bro.
All right, man. Thanks for having me. See you later, man.